Hi, I'm Tom Bartley, and this is a video in response to DeTzardis with regards to his wonderful set of videos based on my original quest associated with Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay Mark 1 versus Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay Mark 2. I'm speaking to you currently from Las Vegas, Nevada, where even in the middle of winter you can grow chilies. So, sorry, this is just the area in my patio. I thought it would be easiest to record a YouTube clip response, whatever the correct terminology is associated with this. The thing that came through my view, and to give some background history, I've owned many copies of Mark 1, and within about a month of buying Mark 2, sold it relatively rapidly, mainly because I do a lot of, as you might imagine, I do a lot of travelling, a lot of moving, and I don't like to keep my hands on books that I'm not necessarily going to be holding on to for a long period of time, nor necessarily want to hold on to for a long period of time. So perhaps unlike DeTzardis, I made my value judgment associated with Mark II a lot faster than he did. However, the thing that struck me in particular was the very obvious visual distinction associated with the movement from, and I think this is probably historic with regards to the early mid-80s and Games Workshop related books, but the movement from that kind of heavy, dank, quite idiomatic actually, quite UK idiomatic pretext, which comes through in a lot of things. I know DeTzardis referred to the humour. My feeling is also just the layout, the quality of the text, these kind of things, into something which really struck me more as a kind of Wizards of the Coast publication, which is the Mark II, as I think it's been referred to. And this is interesting because I've moved from the UK, well, from Australia to the US, to the UK, back to the US in the past 10 years. So I've seen a lot of the US, I've seen quite a bit of the UK, I met a lot of people, talked with a lot of people, and I think what you see with regards to the fantasy books that are published in the US versus the stuff that is published in the UK, and this comes through role-playing, wargaming, all the related genres that kind of interconnect, indicates really something which is far more fundamental, far more psychologically based. And I think the thing that struck me about the UK, and I have a lot of time for the UK, I'm a dual Australian UK citizen, is just the level of damp, the dankness, and also, irrespective of the weather and these kind of social structures, also the issues of class. And I think the environment is both physical and it's also psychological in the UK, as it is, I guess, in the US as well. When you think about places like New England, which are really the overlapping places in terms of just the environment, but also to a certain extent in terms of the age of the architecture and these kind of things, there are still overriding elements that make it fundamentally American, and the things that I found in the UK associated with the environment, the low light levels, these kind of things, also have an element in the, I guess, the fundamentals of society, the kind of ideas of class and propagation, and I think really the US has those as well. I mean, really a senator is just basically a lord in another name. But the way in which societies evolve in terms of dealing with these kind of constructs, I think, ultimately creates the society in terms of the mythology and these kind of things that carry through. And I don't think America really understands the kind of, I don't want to say necessarily British, because also obviously there are heavily European influences and folks outside, you know, Britain in particular. This may seem a little, you know, centrist, but I think the elements of the humour and stuff that DeTzardis described really gel very heavily, and ultimately I made a relatively quick assessment with regards to the books. One thing I will say is I don't have my original copy of Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay. However, I have maintained the 2 Realms of Chaos books because I think basically they distill everything that I liked with regards to the dank darkness associated with the first edition, well, Mark 1, etc. And that's something that stuck with me. Anyway, so somewhat rambling response, but I wanted to record something out. A special shout out as well to Captain Machine, because I really like the stuff that he's been producing, and ultimately he created the shout out which led me to DeTzardis' work. I don't normally record YouTube clips associated with this kind of stuff. See my other YouTube clips for instance, why I record YouTube clips on relatively esoteric, but I wanted to record a response in particular because I thought DeTzardis did a wonderful job, and shout out to him, shout out to Captain Machine. This is Tom Bartley in Las Vegas, Nevada, signing out.